much for tuning into Talking Point. I'm your host, Neeraj Shah. The Talking Point today is the performance of Astral Poly. They came out with what I thought was a rather good quarter, and I said this in the trade setup as well this morning about how well they seem to have managed their EBITDA margin pressures despite there being gross margin pressures. And of course, they have also undertaken price hikes. But the top line growth, the bottom line growth on a YY basis is pretty strong and slightly ahead of estimates as well. Let's get in Mr. Hiranand Savlani to talk about how the quarter went by and how does the second half look set for with all the challenges surrounding almost all corporates. Mr. Savlani, good having you. Thanks for joining in. And it's heartening to see that what you had briefly indicated in quarter one, in the last interaction, you've kind of lived up to that billing. Very strong performance. Tell us what went behind this.
I think across the board performance was great because now the COVID challenges are looking like it's behind the way vaccination work is taking place in our country. And I can thanks to the government because of that things are moving across the board in a right direction. So we are seeing the biggest driver for this growth is the housing side of demand. That is picking up very fast. And that is where the Astral growth is there. And we predominantly are a CPVC players. So that is supporting us in a big way. Secondly, the gap between PVC and CPVC is narrow. So because of that also some shift is taking place in the demand side from PVC to CPVC side. So these two things are contributing in a big way. Adhesive side, as usual, that company is doing excellent, I can say. In last 4 quarters, you see continuously we are growing a 20-25% plus run rate. So that side also, I think attraction is getting day by day. And good part is that we are continuously launching the new products also. That is also giving us a good growth into that segment also.
There was visible gross margin. Actually, before we get to margins, how is the demand environment? I'm getting mixed cues from different companies about how rural is shaping up and how the festive season demand was as well. You're not typically festive, but real estate is on a bit of a roll. And therefore, I'm trying to understand how is the demand environment and how do you foresee this month or the second half to be like?
So I think the beginning of the Q3 is being robust, as good as Q2. You can say we did somewhere around 49-50% kind of top line growth on a consolidated basis in the month of October.
Yeah, we did that.
November, little bit subdued in the beginning because of the Diwali holidays and all these things. So now I think everything is getting open. So we have to see how the demand is going to pick up. But I think the undercurrent is very strong. So I don't see any problem into the demand side. Second thing, still availability is another issue in the system, or whether it is a CPVC or PVC. So that is also creating a problem in the system. So that is where the organized players are getting the good market share. So I think I'm very positive about the Q3 and the beginning is so robust. So I don't think any disappointment will be there in the Q3.
Could there be positive surprises? Your Q2 performance was a bit of a surprise. If there is one, what can cause it?
It's difficult to say, Neeraj, whether it will be a surprise because the expectation graph is always high from Astral. So it is very difficult to see that whether the investors are happy with the current numbers also or their expectations are even higher than that also. So we are not here to fulfill the expectation of everyone. But I think we can say that whatever the guidance company management has given, I think we are going much ahead of the guidance what we have given in our annual presentation.
No, okay. So let me rephrase my question on the other side. Company after company is talking about supply chain issues. I'm not going on the pricing front. I'll do that later. Right now, I'm only talking about supply chain issues, which are probably leading to raw material availability issues. Mr. Savlani, could there be a case where there is adequate demand, but fulfilling that demand might become a problem because raw material availability does not permit you to operate at the capacity levels that you want to operate at?
It's possible because the kind of demand is coming again that the availability is always a challenge. A good company like Astral is still able to manage that part because we are having a very healthy relationship with our suppliers. So far we are able to maintain that part. But you are right, it is very difficult to source the raw material at this stage. So there can be a probability, very high probability, I can say, that the demand may pick up very fast and the supply will be the constraint.
It's interesting, Mr. Savlani. I remember 2 quarters ago when we were talking, you were saying that, and rightly so, of course, but you were saying that the smaller companies are having a terrible time right now because of the logistical issues. Larger companies are somehow still able to manage, both because of the long-term relationships and the working capital managements that they can do. Now, it's not just you, because so many others are telling this to me. I'm trying to understand if, if the issues are finally now also starting to impact the operations of market leaders or industry leaders, sector leaders like yourself and some of the others.
Yeah, definitely all the big companies are facing challenge. You talk to the even bigger company than Astral, they are also facing the same problem. So this is the industry why this problem is going on. But the good part is that some and other how companies who are a cash rich company, they are able to manage that part. Otherwise, it is very difficult to manage that because we are getting the offer at a very, very short notice, and that too, we have to take a decision in 15-20 minutes because otherwise the availability will be lost. So in that case, if you are a cash rich company, you will still be able to manage that part. Otherwise, it is a big challenge. A smaller player, I don't think they have that kind of capability to take that kind of so quick decision and having so much of working capital. Today, many times we internally discuss that it is better to sell raw material than to say, make the pipe and sell it in the market, because raw material premiums are so high in the market, gray market premium, that sometimes we feel why we are manufacturing the pipe. So that's the case. So how the smaller player will survive in this kind of situation where the raw material premiums are too high?
Could the nature of business change, Mr. Savlani?
No. We are predominantly in the pipe, so we will continue to support our distributor and dealer. But this is the reality I'm telling you on the ground.
Sure. No, I get your point. Actually, on that, Mr. Savlani, you've undertaken some price hikes, of course, and I believe the full impact will be seen in quarter 3. So if you've done well reasonably well on quarter 2 on the EBITDA front, I have a 2-part question. One, do you reckon that because of the recovery in gross margins as a result of the price hikes, would the EBITDA margin performance improve quite substantially in quarter 3 versus quarter 2, if that is the right metric? But I'm just trying to put that into perspective because your EBITDA margins were strong in quarter 2, even if gross margins did. So would EBITDA margins improve much dramatically in quarter 3? And part 2 of my question, Mr. Savlani, excuse me, but I'm putting that in as well. Are these price hikes that you are undertaking enough to mitigate the entire cost pressure, or are you going to absorb some of it and going to pass on some of it?
So let me answer your second question first. I think the price rise we have passed on fully. So I don't think any problem is there into the price rise, whether it is the pipe sector or maybe in a adhesive side also. Both the segment we have passed on price rise. So I don't think now any pressure is there on that side. Regarding your first question of definitely gross margin is going to go up because we have now passed on to the market. So definitely gross margin will improve. Now coming to the substantial improvement of the EBITDA, I think it depends on how the volume growth is picking in the Q3. If the volume growth will be robust, definitely the margin will be much higher than the Q2. But if the volume growth will not be there, then in that case may not be that high. But I'm of the view that the EBITDA margin should be better than Q2.
Okay. What about product launches? Last time that we spoke, you told us that a lot of your new products, smaller ones as well at times, are getting lapped up quite seriously. What's happening on that front? And also talk about the foray into adjacencies, right? Because if I'm not wrong, you're thinking of sanitary ware, faucet ware as well.
So let's coming to the first question of the existing business where the product launch is taking place, and then we'll come to the sanitary ware and the faucet. So the existing side pipe, we are going to launch a very, very excellent product, I can say, for the Indian market. That is the DWC product, which will be very cost effective than the existing products available in the market. And the property wise, it will be much, much better. Durability wise, it will be excellent. So there are multiple advantages of that product. So we are going to organize a launch party maybe in the next month, and we are going to launch pan-India wide this product. So our expectation graph is very high from that product, and the market size of that product is very huge. So that product launch is going to take place. Secondly, coming to the adhesive side, I think we have launched 2 recently, the new product that is also one of the best product in the country, I can say. One is into the epoxy side. There we have launched our Bondtite Pro, which is one of the best product available in the country. I can say we proudly say that Astral is one of the best quality provider into that segment. That is the Bondtite Pro, which is the epoxy category. Secondly, we have introduced one PVA category, one more products, because right now wood is getting out of attraction from the system because of the environmental issue. Now if everyone is moving toward the acrylic or maybe MDA or something like that, different kind of board people are preferring for the furniture replacement. So there we have launched one excellent product in the market. So that we have to see how that product is going to give us the response. Initial response is getting good. People are appreciating, but it is not converted into the number game so far. So I think we have to wait for some more time, that we have to see how it is converting into the number game. But as far as the product is concerned, I think we are getting a very good response from the, I can say, the user, carpenter kind of people. But any new product always has a conceptual marketing at the beginning of the journey. So I think we have to educate the people, we have to educate the carpenter and all these things, and then we have to see how that product is going to give us. But we can say that we are the first company to launch that product in the country. So that's the best part from our side. Now, as far as the number is concerned, I think we have to wait for 1-2 quarters more, and then after we have to see how that new product is giving us the response. So overall, I think continuously we are trying to bring a latest product, preferably first time in the country, and so that we should be always differentiating our company from the masses. So that is what the objective of the management, that all the time we have to see that we should bring something new on the card. Otherwise, everything routine kind of things every company is doing. So what's the difference between Astral and the other company? So that is what our target, and we are still continuing with that target, and hopefully we should be delivering good number also. Now coming to your second question of sanitary ware and faucet, I think we have still not opened up the plan for that. We are still working for that. So our team is working for different angle, maybe how many products we want to manufacture in-house, how many products we want to outsource, how much will be the investment, where will be the plant. I think everything will be worked out in next 1 quarter time. So hopefully when our next con call will be there, earning call, at that time we should be ready with all the answer for that. So right now our team is fully geared up to do all these activities, and they are working on that across the board. They are traveling and they are working out all these things. So hopefully in 3 months time we will come up with that thing. But one thing is good into that segment, I can tell you, Neeraj, that 70 to 75% of Astral dealers and distributors are selling faucet and ceramic. So that's the best part of Astral, because we did not to find the new, I think the distributor or dealer. They are already there. We have to only convince for the Astral brand. We have to give them a quality product and at a right price. If we can do that part, I think what our expectation graph is there, I think we can get the market share to that extent.
Would you make a large splash launch, or would it be a baby step, so to say?
I think it's too early to say that. Let first finish that work, because we have to do a lot of hard work for that. It's not easy, because saying is very easy, but doing is always a painful.
I'm sure. Okay, then my final question, Mr. Savlani, and that is on the Capex. You've already announced some Capex. Now, is this in anticipation of when the demand curve moves up even more, you should be ready? Or is it because you are sensing that you are nearing peak utilization levels, if not now, then the next couple of quarters, and that's why you are announcing that? And what's the nature of the Capex? What geographies to address? What products to address?
So like today, you see our capacity utilization is around 62% kind of level, okay, in the Q2. And historically, the first half is 42-43% kind of level, and the second half is 57-58% kind of level. I'm talking about the pie. Adhesive may be a little bit different. So we are of the view that the way demand scenario we are seeing on the ground, in a couple of years, we will be close to about 80% plus kind of utilization. So when you are reaching 75-80% plus kind of, you have to prepare yourself for the future growth. And suppose, hypothetically, I'm telling you, if the demand scenario pick up faster than our expectation, okay, we don't know how the scenario will be there, because the way I'm seeing the country and the way that I'm seeing the collection number of GSTs and all this thing, it gives us a more and more confidence that now the infrastructure side demand will pick up. So far, government was not spending on the infrastructure side. The major chunk of the budget was going to the pandemic side, medical side. So they were not able to complete their ongoing task in the new projects. So here I feel that something green shoot will come in maybe another 3 months to 6 months time. And if that is the case, I think that demand will be very huge. So to be ready ourselves, I think we are little bit ahead of the schedule. But we have to be like that. Secondly, we are not going to borrow anything for that. We are already sitting on 460 crore rupees of cash. So I think it makes sense that today cash is generating hardly 4% return. So there is no point to wait for that. And then the opportunity come at that time, you will be out of capacity. So we want to prepare ourselves much ahead of the schedule so that any opportunity come, Astral should be the first to capture that opportunity.
But you reckon the Capex would be ready in about 18 months?
Yes, almost 18 to 24 months. I think adhesive plant will be ready in 18 months. And that our Telangana facility may be taking 18 to 24 months. Okay. Otherwise, routine Capex is going on with every plant, I can say. We have acquired the land at all the locations. Ahmedabad, we have added the land. Rajasthan, we have added the land. Husur, we have added the land. And Telangana is a completely new land we have acquired. So we have acquired all this adjacent land available near to our factory. So that side, I think we have done. So now we have to start construction of work.
Very nice. I don't think reaching the guided numbers in FY22 would be an issue, Mr. Savlani. Maybe we'll ask if by how much percentage would you be able to beat the guidance at the end of quarter?
I don't know what is the gadget number.
At the end of quarter 3, I said. But lovely talking to you, Mr. Savlani.
I can say only thing that we will try our best. And so far, we have met the expectations of our shareholder, and we will continue to try and work hard because still we have to do a lot hard work. Because still, you see, our market share is very tiny. It is hardly 5-6% of pipe and adhesive also 3-4%. So we have to still do a lot hard work to reach at a decent level of market share.
Is that possible? Pan-India market share in pipes, especially because everybody says it's a very regional business and regional players will continue to dominate.
So now you see, we have already decentralized our plant. So you can call us also a regional company because now we are not a pan-India, but it's you can say every region we are there. So I think that was the objective of the management to be a regional so that logistic side we can take care because pipe carry a lot of logistic costs because we are transporting the air. So in that case, you have to be regional. So I think pretty decent way we are decentralized and even in future also we will further decentralize. Because South plant was much ahead of our expectation. It is going to be 80% utilized this year. So next year, if we don't start putting up the new plant, then we will have to support from the other plant. Then again, the logistic issue will be there. So that's why we have entered into the Telangana.
So in a manner of speaking, Mr. Savlani, tongue-in-cheek a comment, you are USA, United States of Astral.
Oh my God, no, nothing like that. I have a simple Hiranand. I don't want any take with that.
No, I'm just saying that you seem to be embarking upon a model wherein each individual state seems to be having its own working style and methodology, so to say, and then combine you give up the results that you do.
True.
Okay, great. All the best, Mr. Savlani. Thanks so much for speaking to us today and have a great quarter 3.
Thank you very much, Neeraj, for hosting this.
The pleasure is ours. Viewers, thanks for tuning in.